Kevin Gordon here from Autosavant.com with your June 20th edition of the Afternoon Commute. I think it's the first day of summer. Nice long day here in the Northern Hemisphere. Before we get started, allow me a bit of commentary. I'll get my soapbox out. Well, our fine commenters on YouTube, let me tell you, I like it. I love it. I love the comments, good or bad, I don't really care. And one of my favorites so far has been some of the comments we've gotten when we were talking about the Honda Fit. There's a bunch of Honda Fit fans out there, and a couple of them I'm pretty sure I hurt their feelings. Although, I thought I was actually pretty nice about the Fit. Why do I bring that up? Well, I bring it up because the pricing for the Hyundai Elantra Coupe came out yesterday. And it will start at $1,675 more than the base Honda Civic Coupe. Why? What's important about that? Well, a few months ago I talked about the first time that an equivalent Hyundai was more expensive than a Honda. And I sort of said I think it's a tipping point in the life of Hyundai. You know, no longer are they forcing themselves to compete only on economics, right? They're no longer forcing themselves to compete just on being cheaper. They believe that they've got just as quality of a product with a better warranty and most likely more content for the dollar than Honda. Well, with the Elantra Coupe, they've really stepped up that game. I mean, $1,600 in a base model car is not an insignificant amount of money. So it'll be interesting to see how Hyundai does with that versus the Honda, and to see if my ribbing, I guess you could call it, of the Fit was justified, and if the average consumer, you know, seems to agree. Next up for today, do you remember the Volvo Polestar S60, the one with 500 and some horsepower that I talked about yesterday? Well, last night, literally right after we filmed the commute, it sold. It was $300,000, which does price it out of competition with the C63, BMW M3, and Audi even RS4. But it is a one-off car. You can only hope that it sold quickly and it's gotten so much attention that Volvo considers making one closer to a production run, which, of course, in quantities of scale would make it significantly less expensive. Next up for today, Ferrari. I actually have two Ferrari items today, but starting with the fact that Ferrari is going to aim to set a record by seeing how many broken down cars they can put on Silverstone. Oh, wait, no, that's not right. Ferrari is aiming to break a record that it already owns by having the longest parade of Ferraris. They're doing this, right now they've got 600 Ferraris registered to come to the Silverstone track in England and parade around the track. They're actually hoping to get another 400 of them for a grand total of 1,000. And, you know, good for them, I guess. You know, what a strange publicity stunt for Ferrari of all people. But, you know, as I suppose they'd say, at least in Australia, good on you, mate, on that one. Good for you guys. Next up today, Novitec Rosso, those aftermarket tuners of Ferraris, I think most known for at least, have taken their less than subtle brush to the Ferrari FF, which it might be almost hipster cool to say as an automotive person that you love the Ferrari FF, but I love the looks of the Ferrari FF. There's just something so absurd about it. You know, it's like seeing Kim Kardashian in white pants and not getting excited about it. Anyway, so Novitec Rosso has bumped up the horsepower on the FF to 697, I believe. It's also bumped up the torque, and they've added their, as I said, typically sedate body modifications to it. But this one that we're seeing in yellow is, oh God, that thing is phenomenal. You know, paint it yellow, paint it any color you want. That thing just is angry looking. Bentley, not willing to sit on its well-tanned and mosquito-free laurels, has announced the Bentley Continental GT Speed has been updated for 2013. We had a chance to drive the current iteration of the Bentley Continental and didn't do it. Instead, I got to watch Alec Nunez from Autoblog and Valentine Connor from Bentley go blast Winger in one, and never got my opportunity, which I'm still kicking myself about. Onto the Continental GT Speed. It now has 616 horsepower and 590 or 595 foot-pounds of torque, giving it a top speed of 205 miles an hour. It's a pretty large upgrade for it, and it helps really differentiate the W12 over the new V8 model, which really was encroaching on the performance of the W12. And finally for today, the J.D. Power survey results came out. And surprising no one, Lexus is the most reliable brand in their opinion. And the way they rate it is by problems per 100 cars over a year. And Lexus came out ahead. You know, they have the least problems. I think it's still, you know, there's 70 problems per 100 cars in their survey. And those can be any little niggling thing, anything that you decide to take your car back to the dealership for. When you get the survey, you can mark it down. The thing that surprised me is number 2. Jaguar now makes reliable cars. I mean, what's wrong with the world? The other interesting bit about the J.D. Power survey this year is the fact that infotainment systems are becoming the bane of existence for a bunch of manufacturers, and specifically Ford. Ford went so far as, before the survey came out, to admit that they didn't expect to do better than last year as a result of continued problems with my Ford Touch and my Lincoln Touch. You know, their software updates came out, they don't think everybody has them, so on and so forth. So the push to continue to shove infotainment systems into cars still is hurting, you know, purchasers and buyers and customers' perceptions and, you know, dealings with their cars as they go forward. So that's going to get to be a bigger and bigger challenge, as we experienced with the Lexus we had last week. You know, all the infotainment in that didn't work as expected, or for that matter at all in some of the cases. So something interesting there to watch out for. Tonight, just as other programming notes, we'll be putting up the second part of our Lexus piece. And I think I spoiled part of the infotainment review there, but, you know, it's probably a different set of audience. So what are you going to do? As usual, I'm Kevin Gordon from AutoSavant.com, and I look forward to talking to you guys tomorrow.